All right, we're back here with part 2 of our MMA Professional Wrestling NBA podcast. And I understand Payback is coming up this Sunday. That's June the 16th. And we have one Chris Jericho taking on CM Punk. Dawson, how do you see it unfolding?
I don't think CM Punk's going to show up.
At all? So there's not going to be a match?
I don't think he'll show up.
At all?
No. This is the way the storyline's playing. I don't think he'll show up.
So what's Chris Jericho going to do? Go to Dairy Queen, perhaps?
I don't know. Something will happen.
Something will happen.
Something will happen.
But you don't actually expect a match?
No. They'll end up fighting at SummerSlam. Make more money.
Considering it's Payback is in Chicago, which is CM Punk's hometown, I believe he will show up.
Also known as the Second City Saint, Mr. CM Punk. Ryan, how do you see things going down?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's been some talk online about possibly a heel turn for Jericho and a face returning for Punk. But it may not happen then, though. But do you think there's potentially, all of you question, there'll be a heel turn here, pay-per-view, or a face turn? Do you think things just stay the same?
Well, this is professional wrestling. I don't know when, but I can about guarantee that's going to happen. Dawson, what do you think? Wayne?
Well, ever since CM Punk went heel, the ratings went up. And ever since CM Punk's not been on the show since the week after WrestleMania, the ratings has went down every week. So they need CM Punk back. And with him as a heel, the ratings are better. So I think.
So you like him better as a heel?
Yeah, he's better for the company.
Ryan, do you like him better as a babyface or a heel?
He's a heel. I like him better as a heel, too.
Really? Wayne?
I have to agree with that.
So CM Punk is better as a heel?
Yeah.
Funny you should name that. Guess who Chael Sonnen's friend in the WWE is? Can anybody tell me this?
Well, considering we're talking about CM Punk, I would say CM Punk.
That would be very good. Yeah, that's true.
A good segue.
That's exactly right. And Wayne brought up something earlier this morning we didn't touch on previously in part 1 was Rampage Jackson has signed a contract with Bellator and TNA. So what's going to happen there? Is this going to conflict if you're a MMA fighter and a professional wrestler?
No.
Has Rampage ever worked as a professional wrestler?
Not that I'm aware
No.
of.
I see a problem here, though.
What's the problem?
What if Rampage gets hurt in a MMA fight, and then the next night he has to do a pay-per-view, and he can't show up for it?
You know, that's a valid question. I would hope they wouldn't schedule nothing that close together.
I guess he'd just be SOL.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think? Do you think that there's going to be a conflict with him, Rampage signing with Bellator and working with TNA Wrestling?
It could be a potential, like Dawson said, I think it could be potential. Wrestling takes a toll on your body, and so does
MMA, absolutely.
You only got one body.
I think that's very possible, but I kind of see it backwards from Dawson. You may actually get hurt, but I kind of think, what if he gets hurt in professional wrestling? Professional wrestling, it's predicted outcomes. It's sports entertainment. We know this. Yeah. And I'm not taking away from it because I'm a big fan and I love it. But there's certain things that you can do if you were injured, so the show must go on. In MMA, if you suffer an injury, you will have to pull out of the fight. So I think that's a possibility.
It could go both ways.
I do. Some people say Rampage is sensitive. They said, I read an article where, what's all the sneers about? I read an article.
It's sensitive, huh?
That I really did. Where when he signs a contract, it's almost like a relationship with him. And he's the diva. So is Rampage a diva? You think he's a diva?
I guess if you put it that way, I guess he would
let's
be.
ask Chael Sonnen that question.
Chael Sonnen, funny you should name that, young man.
Oh, here we go.
That's right. If you all just, we'll change the topic for a moment, and while I do a little clicking here or there, and we will let Chael Sonnen weigh in on Rampage, if that's okay with you folks.
I got a couple wrestling questions eventually.
Okay, then right now would be a wonderful time, Ryan. What's those questions?
If Wayne or Dawson can jump in on this, they can. Do you think that Big E's going to turn good?
Nope.
I think he'll break up with Ziggler and them. I think he will.
And when do you think the Shields will split up? You think it'll be a while before they split up?
I don't think it'll be soon, anytime soon, unless what's that guy who's got the United States Championship's name? I can't remember his name. Is it? It's one of the Shields members. I can't remember, but he's fighting Kane at Payback for the U.S. Championship. If he loses that, I think the Shield will break up, but I don't think it'll happen.
You know, I'm going to have to really. I don't know. I know I'll get it because my neighbors really, they enjoy the professional wrestling aspect and the pay-per-view, so I get a lot of those for those. But I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. I really am. I'm kind of glad that some places like TNA also has another, I know it's not as big as WWE, but it's a really good show. What do you think? It's a really good promotion.
Do you see any similarity to TNA and WCW?
Yes,
You do?
I do.
What are some of those similarities?
it's just like it's hardcore. Like it's not like WWE. It used to be even more hardcore than it is now. Like the Divas would have like cage matches and all that. I don't watch TNA much anymore, but
Why not?
because Hogan took over and he ruined it.
So you're not you don't like Hulk Hogan, right?
Mm.
Do you like the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah,
That figures.
Jim Hellwig.
Jim Hellwig. Have you ever listened to Warrior TV? He's got a channel on YouTube. Have you ever listened to any of those? I will say this: the guy's still in really good shape, and he's got some pretty interesting views. You remember when the tragedy happened with Chris Benoit? Shortly thereafter, did anybody happen to see Jim Hellwig going on Fox News and was interviewed by Sean Hannity?
Oh Lord, no. I probably
You all didn't see that?
No.
As Mr. Hellwig didn't know what he was getting himself into. He really didn't. Anyway, back to what we said before. Chael Sonnen on Rampage Jackson. I actually have a clip here. I hope it picks it up, and we'll see how it goes. I don't think that's actually going to work, unfortunately. But anyway, he's not a big fan of.
yeah, I've heard what he said.
Yeah, he's not a big fan of Rampage.
He's not a big fan of anyone.
I wonder what happened. Did you all hear about Chael said he was jacked up on Mountain Dew and driving up the wrong way of the sidewalk or something. I don't know if there's a right way you can drive up the sidewalk. You remember? I remember that happened. I don't know exactly what transpired. I don't know what provoked this, but he did. He's got a big, huge truck, which he got on the sidewalk. I forgot. Seemed like it took like 6 officers to arrest him. He was out there a little bit. I remember that. Rampage, yes, sir.
I guess they were just profiling everyone that was going down that sidewalk.
They could have been. I never thought about that. That's very logical. That's. He should have. I don't know. Filed a protest right there. Internal affair. What's it coming to when Rampage can't drive his truck up the sidewalk, right?
I don't know why I said that.
Well, you think it's an infringement on his civil liberties, obviously. Correct?
The profile is wrong.
Okay, Mr. Rampage Jackson. I don't know. Have you all ever watched any of his interviews? He kind of gets on my nerves, I have to say, because he always tries to grope and fondle the reporter, even, if it's a lady. So, I don't know. He gets on my nerves a little bit.
So that's what happened with him and Kurt Angle last night on TNA.
What happened there? Tell us about it. See, I did not get to watch this, but if I'd have known that was going to happen, I would have
I watched
tuned
it
in.
last weekend.
So what happened last night, Wayne?
It looked like they were going to go at it, and then they were hugging at the end of it.
Rampage won him over.
Evidently.
Apparently,
Told you he was sensitive.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Rampage is a sensitive guy.
He's a sensitive guy. Well, do you think he's sensitive, Ryan? Do you watch TNA? You do.
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. You need to tune in. Me and you both need to tune in more, and you need to learn more about Rampage Jackson. I learned when he was fighting over in Pride over in Japan. That's where I first started watching Rampage. He had some terrific slams, body slams. He really did. It's not the WWE type body slams, but he was really impressive. He had some really good fights with Wanderlei Silva, which Wanderlei actually won those, but Rampage got his revenge. The last time they fought was actually in the UFC in the Octagon, and he knocked Wanderlei out. Chael Sonnen, by the way, really called out Wanderlei Silva, but it didn't happen. He got his training partner, his former training partner. But I would have liked to seen that fight. I really would have loved to seen that fight.
Well, this is kind of with WWE and TNA. People always say that TNA steals WWE's ideas, and I never believed it until Rampage come to TNA a couple weeks ago. Cause isn't it funny when WWE gets a UFC fighter that TNA gets a UFC fighter?
What UFC fighter did WWE get?
They got Lesnar.
Lesnar was a wrestler before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
but
Lesnar
still.
more or less went home, possibly. Now Brock did bring a lot of excitement to the UFC heavyweight division. He really did. He probably brought more excitement to that division than anybody I can ever remember. He was big. He was good, and he still played the heel part. Oh man! After his first fight, he was defeated by Frank Mir by knee bar. Steve Mazzagatti was a little slow stopping the fight, and Brock had to tap a couple times. The second fight, he really beat up Frank bad. Really beat him up bad and made somewhat some people call it a spectacle of himself after that in the Octagon. But he did bring excitement to that. I believe his diverticulitis really affected his MMA career. That's what I believe. But I hope he's back in WWE doing really well now, so I hope him all the best. And there was another WWE star that tried to transfer over into MMA, and that was Batista.
Dave Batista.
Yeah. He's coming back to WWE.
I don't think he had the success that Brock did, by no means. Bobby Lashley,
He,
is that his name?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's an impressive athlete, in WWE or MMA.